Hey, this is Mark A. Altman.
And this is Darren Dochterman.
And this is Ashley Miller.
And we, yes, you guessed it, we are the Inglorious
Treksperts.
Filmed in front of a live studio audience.
From Burbank, California.
From Television City in Hollywood.
Well, I just want to say this is exciting. We got last week we did a deep dive into The Cage. This week we're back. It seemed only appropriate for the 60th anniversary to look at Where No Man Has Gone Before. And this is the second Star Trek pilot that shot in August of, July of 1965, over 9 wonderful days. As the story goes, Paramount and Desilu wanted it, Desilu, not Paramount, wanted it done in 7 days. Justman said it would take 9 days, and guess what?
They
gave
took
him
9
7
days.
and it took 9 days, exactly. You know, God could create the Earth in 7 days, but you need 9 days for a Star Trek pilot, which is a lot less than The Cage. Here comes Genesis. It'll do it for you in 6 minutes.
9.
That's a fucking AI. It'll do it for you in 9 minutes, and it'll be awful. Oh, my God. I can't stand all that AI crap that's out there now.
Oh, my God, dude. It's just...
it's crazy. It's crazy. But you know what? Like I was when CG started creeping in everywhere, I think artists have a responsibility to learn as much as they can about the tools.
Oh, I don't disagree.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with that at all. I think people who don't... I'm talking about the difference between understanding it and using it and embracing it. I don't embrace it, but right tool for the right job.
Yeah.
Well, that and
I just don't want to be its foe.
No. It's like the thing I'm responding to is I can smell AI writing from like 100 yards away.
Close enough to smell it.
Because it is always the same. And it's maddening. It's like the voice is maddening to me.
Well, we're talking about two different things. Your idea of AI affects your business different than it does mine.
Well, it also sort of affects my business because
they're both awful.
I didn't say it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just different. It's way easier to spot AI in your business than it is in mine.
Can I just say, I understand what Ashley's talking about. It's something we talked about last week, where I think, Darren, you said, would you believe? It all starts like, can you, and it's like, they used to not pay these freelancers much money, but at least they were human beings, even if they weren't talented.
Right. And now they pay even less.
These websites just use AI, and everything's like, it was incredible. And the tears were flowing as they reunited. It's just like, oh my God. And then what Darren's talking about, we saw that thing the other day, which we shared on the social just because it was so insane, was the AI reunion between the actors and their characters. But every time they had a dead actor, a deceased actor, they put wings on him. And it was just like, but it was like the poster for Heaven Can Wait. God. And it was like, oh my God, it was so creepy. And just...
Because I know Nimoy doesn't have wings now.
No, he drank Red Bull, so...
Yeah.
Gosh, it was just... And, we are in the wild, wild west of it all, but some of this stuff is just so horrendous. So, yes, from the concept artist perspective of Darren Dochterman, with the art that's being created, and I use the term loosely, and then the writing in our world of writing and journalism is just equally abhorrent. But again, the devil. We got to understand the devil. You got the devil. And it's like
understand your foe.
Yeah, and there are things that are worthwhile in terms of research, but even that, I can't tell you how many times. Because it's all kind of crowdsourced, a lot of it is inaccurate.
Right.
It's not true.
Oh, crowdsourced. I thought you were talking about sourcing it from Germany.
That's Kraftwerk.
Crowdsourced.
Yeah. By the way, I've officially decided, and please, no spoilers because I'm only a couple episodes in. I've officially decided that Ray Seahorn, the best actress for the Golden Globe, is Kay Reindell. I've decided.
You know,
that
I saw you sent me that text, and I don't agree, but you'll see as it goes along.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I love Kay. That's not a. I'm not.
No, I do too, and she's completely different.
Okay. So he's actually shaking his head.
I don't know, man. I didn't even watch the Golden Globes. The Golden Globes have been stupid for as long as I've been alive.
Oh, they were awful last night.
Well, I only know that we were 150th in Best Podcast nomination.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, I know. How did we not get nominated? You know, NPR and Smartlist, and where were the Treksperts?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Well, we were on the list somewhere.
Well, we couldn't even win Trek Movie Best Star Trek
It's
Podcast.
like, which member of like the Hollywood like International Foreign Press Association do we have to blow, right, to get on that?
Well, that
I
ain't
think
happening.
you know.
It's not happening. That's your
I
job,
do.
Ashley.
Well, it would have been even more depressing if Spiner and Frakes' podcast won even before them
released.
delivering an episode.
Oh yeah.
But that's not a Star Trek podcast. They've made it very clear in all the
I didn't say it was a Star
pre-launch
Trek
promotion.
podcast.
It is not a Star Trek podcast.
Yet they would still win the Star Trek podcast.
They would.
That's. Well, I'm sure it's going to be terrific. They have such great banter.
Absolutely, I'm looking
and
forward
so
to
many
it. I
great
think they
stories.
recorded their first episode today.
And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So that'll be good. And
We'll
plus
see
I'm
how
sure a lot
fast they
cigars
run
will
out
be
of stuff to
smoked.
talk about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I said you're welcome. We have plenty of advice for you if you're interested on the perils and of being a podcaster.
They said you have nothing to teach us, sir.
Uh-huh.
No, that's not what they said.
Gentlemen, the first 4 episodes are easy.
Yeah, even
And
more.
then-
8 seasons later, it's a little more
Yeah.
difficult. It's a little more difficult.
No, they'll-
Let's talk
they'll be
about why
great,
the
and I look forward
Survivors
to it.
is so great.
The which one?
Let's talk about why the Survivors is so great again.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, come on, he killed all Husnak everywhere.
So I got another letter. We've been doing these letters
Yeah,
every
we do.
week for the 60th
Who watches
anniversary
the
of Star
Husnak?
Trek. This is a letter.
Who's the Horton? Here's a Husnak.
See, now that's what AI is for. It could create that book in the style
Yeah.
of Dr. Seuss.
That's right.
Horton, here's a
Here's a
Who-snack.
Husnak.
No, they already tried that and they got sued.
He killed all the Who-snack everywhere.
Everywhere.
Not in a boat, not with a goat.
Oh my
Yes,
God!
the mailbag. Yes.
And then little, and young Marina would be listening to music throughout the whole episode. What is that music? It's such a delight.
Stand up, sit down, fight.
Okay. Hello, Treksperts.
Hello.
Listener.
Hello.
This listener is Nate Kurdanich. Nate Kurdanich. And unfortunately, since these are not letters, these are emails, I can't say it's Nate Kurdanich from, Tulsa, Alabama or whatever, because I don't know where they're from. They
Tulsa,
never say.
Alabama. Really?
I don't know.
I
I'm
mean,
just
I know
saying.
it's flyover country to you, but Tulsa is in Oklahoma.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So
it's all
totally.
flyover country to me. Dude, if it's not New York or LA, it's all flyover
Yeah.
country.
No, we know. Everyone knows.
Okay. So, since you recently put out your invitation to your audience to write in with their stories of how they came to be Star Trek fans and what Star Trek means to them, at least what you have shared with your audience, it seems most of the fans writing in have been older fans that have been fans of Star Trek their whole lives and for decades. Upon hearing these, I figured I would share my story about becoming a fan of Star Trek as someone who is of the younger generation and has only been a fan for a few years.
Tell us your sad story, Nate.
He said, in my 30s, I'm in my 30s and I didn't start watching Star Trek till about 4 years ago when I was in my early 30s. Since then, I have been binge watching my way through the whole franchise over the past few years, and as of now, I have watched everything except Prodigy and Discovery. And parenthetically, he wrote, "I'm not looking forward to Discovery. I'll keep an open mind. It's a lot of people like it, and
Just
you
like
might be
we
one
will.
Both of them do.
As I have watched more and more Star Trek, I eventually noticed a change in myself. Specifically, he's turning into a woman. Specifically, no, I'm making a Turnabout Intruder reference. It's not, Okay. Specifically, as
He's becoming part of the others. Like
People could take that the
in
wrong
Bodies.
way. I'm going to say you've been turned into a little hexagon or whatever. It's like in
Little
by any
He's
other
been
name.
reduced
Okay.
to a compact shape.
They're reducing the whole ship. Okay, let me continue with this letter. Specifically, as I've watched more and more Star Trek and become more deeply immersed in this world, I started to realize that I've become a more optimistic person. For context, I've always considered myself a very pessimistic person with regards to just about everything. But maybe he's in pluribus. But Star Trek has unconsciously started to change my worldview and my opinions about most everything. I really like TOS, but the cast of TNG is my favorite ensemble cast of any TV series, and TNG has since become my new favorite TV series. Thank you for reading my letter, and thank you for doing what you guys do to continue fueling excitement into the fandom. That yours truly, Nathan K. from Tulsa, Oklahoma. No, you don't know where he's from.
No, we don't know where he's
Yeah,
from.
no idea.
Nobody knows.
No, that's good. What do you mean
Yeah.
nobody knows? No, that's good. I like hearing that he's becoming a more positive person. That'll change. That'll change.
Look, that's it. No, I think that's great. I think that's one of the gifts of Star Trek is, the hopeful optimism that it gives us and hope for the future, and the fact that it's, so much great science fiction is dystopian, and the fact that he's embracing Star Trek and that it's had this positive effect on his worldview. I think that's terrific. So, Nate, we're glad. Keep on listening because
Welcome
we really
aboard.
need that young demographic. Because I'm hoping one of these days we get some 20-year-olds on listening to the show, because it does, we have a very large listenership, but it does tend to skew older. So, I don't know. These advertisers are going to start advertising like these pills and stuff for,
Right.
heart medication,
like the Hims
instead
ads.
of like the cool stuff, the cool ads.
Well,
Viagra.
if they do, then we can just do live commercials, and that'll be fun.
That's right.
Live commercials. Yeah, we could do that.
Our sponsor today.
For
When
we
we're
could
watching
do
Star
that.
Trek.
We're the only ones who are going back to doing tobacco commercials. See, nobody does
Nice.
those anymore. So I want to go back to like the '60s.
Lucky strikes mean fine tobacco.
That's what we should do. We should
I go
do.
1,000 miles. To smoke
We
a
should do
camel.
all the Mad Men commercials. Like
Oh
we should
my
take
God,
the
that's
commercials
funny.
from Mad Men and just do them live on the podcast.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, this brought to you by John Hamm. God,
Ham.
did we ever talk about when we talked about shows that are
Star Trek adjacent. Did we talk
Star
about
Trek adjacent, Mad Men?
I think we
Mad
did.
Men.
I feel like we did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we mentioned
okay.
a couple of episodes that actually mentioned Star Trek in it.
Well, of course, we mentioned it as a pop culture reference where he's pitching, trying to get his pitch to Gene Roddenberry, which is
Right.
hysterical. Yeah, because who wouldn't want to have?
Because by that time, Roddenberry completely left the show.
Yeah.
I know he got it to the wrong person. They got it to Roddenberry, but he couldn't help him
Yeah.
because by then it was
No, I'm working on a wonderful new movie.
pretty maids all in a row.
His feature career is taken off.
So let's talk about Gene Roddenberry. Here's the thing about Where No Man Has Gone Before, the second Star Trek pilot. It was written by his good friend Sam Peeples, who was very involved. He was a sounding board to Gene all through the development of the original pilot. He was the one who showed him a bunch of sci-fi pulp magazines that helped inspire what not to do with the Enterprise. He, also I believe was the one who pushed back on the idea of Mr. Spock being a Martian, which was a great idea. Who ate through his stomach, like he had a whole pouch in his stomach where he, So Peoples was very involved in that early gestation, and of course he eventually would go on to write one of the drafts of Star Trek II, where he had the brilliant idea to take Khan out of it, which was insane. So he wrote
The
the
Wrath
second
of
pilot
Nothing.
because there were three. Most people know there were three pilots in contention when NBC chose to commission a second pilot. One of them was Sam Peeples, Where No Man Has Gone Before. The other was Stephen Candell's Mud's Women. And the last was Darren Document's favorite episode, The Omega
The
Glory,
Omega Glory.
by Gene. I'm not surprised that the studio chose this one.
Oh God, no.
No, it's completely understandable because, like we talked before, this was what they were expecting. This was the Gunsmoke episode.
Yeah.
And the big fisticuffs at the end, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
It ends with a fist fight. It also has a powerful guest star performance. We talked about the great Gary Lockwood, who is, in this draft, he's Clark Mitchell.
Yeah.
Right.
Clark.
Yeah.
Clark Mitchell.
So when he turns into a guard, he becomes Kal-El Mitchell.
The thing about Where No Man Has Gone Before that I aside from the fist fights and the Western of it all, it's you think about tone. And and something that's really going to set the stage, set the table for the rest of the show. I don't know that Mudd's Women is exactly the way that you want to kick off the series.
No,
for sure. Like regardless of how good the script is, it's not the right tone. And I don't know that Omega Glory is even the right tone. I mean, it's I dig Omega Glory, but it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, so now we're basically saying this show is the Twilight Zone,
right?
And that's tough, man. It's like and maybe that kind of speaks to something that was very smart about Gene Roddenberry. I mean, I can't imagine that he, those scripts are so different, those stories are so different. I can't imagine that he wasn't just sort of creatively speaking firing a shotgun to try to hit the target that the studio, that the network wanted.
You keep on missing the target. Well, I'm going to go a lot further than you guys. I don't think Star Trek would have gotten picked up if they had made either of those. I think that the show about space hookers as a pilot, I think it would have been ultimately something that they would not have embraced. And the wonderful performance by Roger C. Carmel as Leo Walsh / Harry Mudd, I would have overshadowed the rest of the cast. Mm-hmm. I think Leonard's performance as Spock would not have landed the way it does in Where No Man Has Gone Before, because he's a real great sounding board for the captain in Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Yeah.
He's like, you have to do this. Compassion and command don't go together. You have to kill Gary Mitchell. It makes it such an interesting character.
Yeah.
Yeah, the great thing about Where No Man Has Gone Before is that it has time to set up our crew and to establish relationships, even during the machinations of the plot. It gives us moments to develop the characters really quickly.
That's a great point, because Mudd's Women is kind of like you're cold teaser. It's like you're right into it. Like they're already chasing the ship, and there's no introduction of the characters, and then it becomes a show about space hookers.
And they're thrust into a situation that they almost are never in.
Space hookers.
Yeah, that's true. And it really is a Western, because you have these settlers on the frontier who want these mail order brides. It could have been a Western with a few changes.
But it doesn't have a fist fight.
It doesn't have a fist fight, exactly.
And a fight with baboons. Oh, no, that's different.
Yeah. It has that great Star Trek message, beauty comes from within. This whole idea that the Venus drug it's not a cheat, Eve. Which is cool.
But as an adventure show, it's kind of soft.
And we said this about other episodes.
Except for when the hookers are
It's
around.
more about our guest stars than us. It's about the women. The women. And about Harry Mudd more than it's about our crew. Whereas Where No Man Has Gone Before was so brilliant, it's all about Captain Kirk having to make this really impossible decision. Is he going to maroon his best friend or kill his best friend?
Right.
As opposed to Mudd's Women. And then I'm not even going to dignify. I know you guys like Omega Glory, but Omega Glory, as much as I can understand it being a guilty pleasure, would have been a disaster. Parallel world story where they sing.
Because it's not about our characters.
There's zero chance that show would have been picked up.
And I mean, Pledge Allegiance, because they have the American flag and the Constitution, Declaration of Independence on another on another world, and the communists and the Yankees. It's like, oh my God, it's Irwin Allen, So I don't see, and the thing was, NBC wanted, in a way they did want to compete with the Irwin Allen shows, because Lost in Space was doing well for CBS, Voyage of the Bottom of the Sea was doing well for ABC. They didn't have a sci-fi show, so that's one of the reasons they were willing to work with Roddenberry again after the bad experience they had on Lieutenant, But And I think also they delivered the goods with this Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. It's interesting. So the script we have, I don't know why I don't take better notes on these things, because I don't have the date of the script that we're talking about.
The original first draft was May 27th, 1965. Written in pencil over it is June 16th. So like 3 weeks after the first draft, this is the second draft. And
I'm going to tell you right now.
Extensive notes written in pencil by Roddenberry.
If you haven't already joined our Discord channel, join our Discord channel, because we're going to post this script. If you want to look at this script, you can read along. And at the tone, turn the page.
You can read along with me in your script.
How lucky you are.
But we're going to post the script on the Discord channel, and that is in our show notes.
When you hear Spock say the word fascinating, it's time to turn the page. You can go to our new link tree on our in our show notes, and that will take you to all our social channels as well as the Discord channel. It's all in one place. Yeah, that was a good idea. It only took us 8 freaking years, but now we have all our links in one place, so you don't have to guess. Yeah, we're finally getting the hang of this podcasting thing after 8 years. So good luck, Jonathan and Brent.
Yeah, guys.
So, interesting things. I want to make one thing. A lot of times we criticize Gene Roddenberry, for being a huckster and for being, kind of prurient and all these things. But Gene was an incredible talent who understood the show. Him and Gene Kuhn got the show better than anyone, and DC Fontana better than anyone. And if you look at his notes and what he crosses out, he immediately knows what Sam Peeples, where it's overwritten, overwrought. I mean, it's just like he gets to the heart of these long dialogue, that goofy sci-fi overwritten, and he just knows exactly how to get the script to work. I mean, it's still not 100% there, but Darren, you were talking before we started. It takes forever to even get going in this draft.
Yeah, I mean the famous scene where they're going through the barrier, and Gary Mitchell and Dr. Daner are affected by it. That doesn't happen till like page 20, which is,
and it's not the barrier; it's a storm.
A good over third into the story.
It's not even the galactic barrier; it's a space storm. They go into. They don't. The galactic barrier. I know everybody says, "Oh, it's not scientifically realistic." It was a great concept. Exactly. That there's this galactic barrier around the rim of the galaxy that you have to pass through to get out of the galaxy.
Incidentally, now scientists say, yes, in fact, there is one.
That's interesting. I hadn't heard that. But that's really cool. Whether it's true or not, it's so cool.
And I will tell you one thing for sure. Whether or not there was actually a galactic barrier, it needed to show up before page 20.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing that kicks off the entire actual story of the episode that we were just talking about, which is essentially like encapsulated by Spock saying, "Hey man, you got to whack your best friend." That's the story of this episode. By the way, to your point, Mark, about how it's not completely there, one thing I think we can both attest to is that there's a reason why we don't call them draft. We call them drafts, because the truth is we need to go through this process of cutting things out and kind of doing the different version and finding it and going through it and kind of working the dough again and again, because you can't see it all at once. You have to see it in stages. And you can even see Roddenberry doing that as he goes. There's stuff where he's rewritten, then he says, fuck it, and he cuts it all out. Right? Like it's all gone. I will say that, look, I don't know, like, I'll say that Roddenberry, regardless of whatever obviously he understands Star Trek, but I will say also that just in terms of like basic craft, he's a much better writer than Samuel Peeples.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah,
because that's been the knock on him. That, Gene was a better idea guy than he was a writer.
Well, I think that's still true, but he's a better writer than Sam.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's not half the writer that Gene Kuhn was, but man, was he a great producer and a great
Let me just give you an instance here. This is from just the first couple of pages. We have a scene inside the ship's corridor, and Commander Clark Mitchell, soon to become Gary, it says, as he hurries down the corridor, the expression on his face indicating he's probably heard and knows something of the alert created by the unidentified object ahead. Okay, Roddenberry crosses out all of that, and after Clark Mitchell, he says, about 30, extremely likable and pleasant type, obviously well known to and much approved by the ND crewmen he passes. He is hurrying. This establishes character and establishes the crew's attitude toward him, and it tells a ton more than that little sentence did before.
Yes, that's true. And I will also call your attention to a line that jumped out at me as, like, for whatever reason, I just loved it, and it was cut from the script. But Mitchell, page 15, Mitchell into his mic, launch drone, Mark. I don't know. I just like that he's talking to you, Mark. I just think that's great. It's like The Room. Oh, hi, Mark.
Well, he's not talking to Mark Piper, because Mark Piper is barely in it. It's Ship's doctor. He's called Ship's doctor. He never gets a name.
Didn't even come up with a name yet.
Basically, Elizabeth Dana is getting most of the dialogue that the doctor would eventually get.
Who reads very much like number one from the cage, I think. Especially like in this draft, especially as he rewrites her. I mean, obviously she doesn't feel that way when she finally gets to stage, also because certain actresses are better than certain other actresses. But Dr. Dana very much feels like that character.
That's interesting. And I have to say, there are constantly descriptions of her being frigid and how difficult it is for a lady in a male profession, which is, thank God, most of that went away, not all of it. But I think a lot, what really helped was Sally Kellerman is so good in that role.
She is.
Right.
What a great, she has this great line in our book, 50-Year Mission. But where she says, fans would come up to her and say, the reason that pilot sold was because of you. And she goes, yeah, I think you're right.
You know what?
And, she played along with that.
That's not nuts. I mean, I will say, and this is beyond the script, but I think that that Gary Lockwood and her, they had just great chemistry. Like, there was something about, like, that connection.
Wow, there is, and this goes beyond the script, because she talks about how the fact that she had been in an acting class or another project, and we know Gary, he's arrogant as fuck, and she was like totally put off by him and wanted to have nothing to do with him. She called him the amateur, Gary the amateur. But as soon as he started acting, she saw all that charisma. She said, yeah, I never called him that again. And it was clear that she, was won over by Gary pretty quickly after
if
dismissing
they had survived,
him.
As much as we've talked about how, like, it's a different show if Gary Mitchell sticks around. Like, Gary Mitchell and Dr. Dana stick around on that show. By the way, it's a great show. It's just, but holy crap, they take it over. I mean,
but what's funny? It's Decker and Ilea.
Yeah,
it's true. It's you got these really.
It's actually more Riker and Deanna.
How so?
Decker is not that dynamic.
You Decker.
No, because I'm saying at the end of the thing, they're gone. These two interesting new characters that they introduced are then gone. And don't come back. And wouldn't it be interesting to see more? I don't think they're Riker and Troy, because I think Riker and Troy, had a previous relationship, yes, but they're especially in the beginning, were not dynamic characters at all. Mm-hmm. Like, whereas I feel like, Ilea and Decker were a little more interesting than Riker and Troy at first.
You see, I think that Mitchell and Dana had a fling before this episode.
I think they were having a fling, like, between
camera setups.
Yeah, between camera setups. That's probably true. I want to say one thing. John D.F. Black, his claim to fame. The one thing he used to say over and over again was, he hated how Roddenberry rewrite all these great science fiction writers, and how his bone to pick with Roddenberry, and the reason he left the show was because he kept fighting with Gene over rewriting these guys. And remember, he left before the show even aired, right?
Right.
Okay. these scripts we've been looking at show that Gene was 100% right. He understood the show. And how could he possibly, before the show even premiered, convey to these sci-fi writers who had massive egos and narcissism, who were making their own show in their heads, the show he was making in his head. And, I look at this script, and you forget in The Cage, we didn't see a lot of the Enterprise. It was mostly a planet show.
Right.
So this is the first time, because we forget, we see these episodes out of order, so we don't really think about it. This is the first time you're seeing sick bay. This is the first time you're seeing a lot of these rooms on the rec deck. And there's great descriptions for sick bay that really explain exactly what sick bay does. And, he created the freaking Kindle. They were reading Gary Mitchell's reading books on a screen. Mm-hmm. They have this diagnostic bed, which is incredible in the way it was able to monitor his, all his vitals and do all this stuff. And and it's described very well in the script. Now, some of that is Peeples, but a lot of this is coming from Gene. And I think we forget that when we watch these shows out of order. We don't realize the magnitude. I'm guilty of that, because I've always said I don't love Where No Man Has Gone Before, but I really respect the hell out of it. And I think, thinking about it, it's gone up, in my estimation.
Yeah, you know what? You make a really good point about the ship, too, by the way. Another reason why maybe it was super smart to make this the pilot, because now you're putting all of your money into sets and a couple of guest stars rather than a bunch of guest stars. And you're just basically building your core ship with this, and it's mostly a bottle show. There's something really, really smart from a producer's perspective about this. Also, to your point about science fiction writers and the egos, something that Robert Wolfe said early on when we went to work for him on Andromeda, and I think it was something that, an attitude that he carried over from DS9, which was, it is much easier to teach a television writer to write science fiction than it is to teach a science fiction writer to write TV. And it's basically because of, what you're talking about. It's like, you got the big ideas, and it's the, hey man, cool, except that we got to be into the story before page 20.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, here's that line I was talking about. Women professionals tend to overcompensate, was what they say about Elizabeth Thayer. But, let's talk a little bit about, because, of course, Jeff Hunter is gone. They needed a new star, so they were talking to people like Jack Lord and
the Jack Lord,
Roddenberry's friend Lloyd Bridges, who passed. He didn't want to do sci-fi, ironically. The star of Sea Hunt, and then Jack Lord, who wanted a piece of the show,
right?
And so he ended up going off and doing Hawaii Five-0 eventually. So they get Shatner, and God, how lucky for them! How lucky they were to get Shatner. It's been said, by others, including us, that from the first moment on screen, William Shatner is Captain Kirk. Ironically, the first moment on screen is that scene playing the three-dimensional chess in the rec deck, which was the first day of production, and Shatner just came to play. Yep. He had it down, and it's interesting because him and Gary and Dana, they sort of carry it, because the rest of the cast, Leonard's not all that interesting in that episode. Right. Although he does get to push back on, some of the choices Kirk's making, so that makes him interesting. But you have Lloyd Haynes as Alden, as the communications officer. The only thing that's interesting is that he's African American. He doesn't get a lot to do. Andrea Drum is the yeoman. She doesn't really get anything to do. She's no Laurel Goodwin. She's fine. Sulu as the physicist. That was his credit.
And then he was the botanist.
Jimmy Doohan is engineer. Basically, it's these thankless stuff. And then, Paul Fix is Dr. Mark Piper is just a non-entity.
Yeah.
Right. And arguably one of the most interesting characters, Lee Kelso, is killed.
Mm. Yeah. They kill him, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's good.
He's really good.
He's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good. And,
he's basically the Scotty of the episode.
Yeah. He's Mr. Fix-It. He's like my plumber.
Right.
He's the Lee Kelso of... yeah, which is interesting because Lee Kelso is not unlike Ortegas in The Cage, or what that character eventually became. It's so interesting that they made this decision to change so many of the actors from the first pilot, and I never really have read much about. Obviously, we know the stories about why number one didn't come back, and the legendary stories about keeping Leonard, but didn't really understand a lot of the other changes, other than maybe they just didn't feel those characters worked.
Yeah. They just weren't getting the right thing. I mean, look, we know it's like sometimes you're sitting and you're watching. I mean, at the daily stage, if somebody's working or not. I mean, occasionally, in post, they'll edit somebody together and you're like, oh my God, you built this incredible performance out of absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
And that happens, right? There are some actors who, when you cut them together, they're amazing, but you kind of know, especially when you're looking at the day players, if they're giving you that thing or they're not giving you that thing. And if there's something you can throw to them that might be interesting if you need to later. Yeah. And maybe there just wasn't, dude.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. And I think that, Gene really just got it. He really understood like what was going to work in this show. And obviously he wanted Gary Lockwood because he'd worked with him on The Lieutenant. And Gary had just gotten 2001, so he didn't want to do TV. Right. So it was kind of like, Gene kind of had to prevail on their friendship, say, please do this for me. And, good for Gene, because Gary Lockwood makes that pilot. Because, Shatner would have eaten anyone alive who wasn't as big and as charismatic as he was. And there are not a lot of people like that. Correct. And Gary Lockwood was like that.
Mark, I'm not sure. I don't think he had gotten 2001 yet. I think it was a little too early.
No, he said in interviews he wasn't. He had been cast. He was going to do it.
Right.
He tells that story that I already knew I was doing this feature and told Gene that I was doing a movie with Kubrick, and I'm just that's
the making of book that came out a couple years ago disagrees with that a little bit, but that's fine.
Yeah. Look, we all know the actors exaggerate and can be hyperbolic, but that comes from the mouth of Gary Lockwood.
So did a lot of things.
Gene. Well, he did beat up baboons.
That's right.
He did walk macho.
He walked macho, that's for sure.
Yeah. But, if filming, you had James Goldstone. Again, this was a friend, somebody who'd done Outer Limits for Bob Justman, and they didn't want to take any chances because, we all love Bob Butler, and I thought he did an amazing job on The Cage. But, he pushed back on Roddenberry, I think, a lot more, and they wanted somebody who could just more of a traffic cop and less of an artist.
Yeah.
Who could just bring it
They
in
wanted a
on
Richard
time.
Marquand.
They wanted Richard Marquand, and they got it in James Goldstone, who did a fine job, but they needed somebody who had a little more experience and would come in and wouldn't get ambitious. And he doesn't. It's not a particularly, ambitious. You don't have anything like that opening shot.
No, he is like the Cliff Bowl of...
No, it's better than that. It's better than Cliff Bowl. Nobody's as mediocre as Cliff Bowl. I thought James Goldstone did a good job. I mean, especially, this was shot, in a pilot in 9 days, which was really reinventing the wheel is pretty amazing. And I think obviously the fact that so much took place on the ship, but again, as we talked about, a lot of the ship hadn't been built yet.
Yeah.
Right.
So they were creating it.
And it's interesting that chess scene in the teaser. Actually, in the script, it takes place in Kirk's quarters, and I think they rewrote it to include the rec room to basically do that producerial thing and get them to spend money building the rec room.
That's interesting. Well, there's a lot too of Gene adding ND people. He knew it was important that the ship feel busy, which is the first thing that goes away when Fred Freiberger takes over. All of a sudden, the Enterprise feels like a ghost town, and it feels smaller. Whereas especially in those early,
even when we're in a ghost
episodes, in those first 13 episodes of Star Trek, there's so many people on that ship.
Yep.
It's great. So many extras or background artists. I think they're extras, but okay, background artists running around on the, in the ship, which is really cool. I mean, here's an example of Sam Peeples' dialogue. When Gary Mitchell's talking to Dana, he says, "Don't let the light in my eyes bother you, pal." Oh, it is for Kelso. It's for our good-looking lady doctor. Like that went away. It's like good, Gene.
That exact phrase went away, but it also is in the script.
Yeah, but I'm saying it eventually. Oh, you know what's really interesting? This is really interesting. So after they have the accident, I think it was 9 people died, and where No Man Has Gone Before, and it was only 3. So 3 people die. So following that, and this is what Darren was talking about earlier, it takes forever for the Esper powers to show up. It's like we're 20 minutes in and nothing's happened. But there's a scene in the Enterprise Chapel, and it's described as this, not the Christine Chapel. That's when he got home. This is the chapel is a pleasant room with reverent decor. It has a Christian cross, a Star of David, the Yang and Yin symbol. I was going to say the comms and the Yang symbol of Buddha, as well as 2 strange religious devices from other worlds. It's always the joke, the 2 Earth things and then the one alien thing. George Washington, Lincoln, and Altair of and Una Clarifides, right? All in lit design behind an altar where Captain Kirk stands with a small black book in his hand. Spock, Dana, Lieutenant Kelso. 3 bodies are jettisoned. American flag, Russian flag. Remember, it's 1965. It's pretty cool. Right. Pretty daring. And a 3rd alien flag, Arcturus 4, which they ended up calling an alien in Star Trek The Motion Picture, Arcturus, right? So, anyway, I thought that was really interesting because we all know in Balance of Terror there's a chapel scene, but it does not have any of those elements.
No,
that's right.
But it is
the barely in Star Trek The Motion Picture.
What?
I said Chapel is barely in the Star Trek The Motion Picture. What are you talking about? She was a doctor. Sorry,
Dr. Chapel.
I'm gonna have to shut up.
So I think it's interesting because particularly since Gene would go on later and talk about how secular the show was and how, it was very important to him not to show religion in the future, that, the second pilot, they had this whole chapel scene that ended up getting, and I wonder if that was Sam Peeples.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, Darren? Okay, you said well.
No. We just got out of sync. Yeah.
But here's the sickbay description. It says a group of instruments which monitor patients' pulse, blood pressure, respiration, and other functions. At present, they are all working. Camera pulls back to reveal something on this next page, which I can't find. But it's great. And then you go on and you have some really ham-fisted descriptions of the powers that he has. You've had a taste of Homo Superior. And his powers have only started to develop. That's Spock talking. And then it goes into the absolute power corrupts, absolutely. But, the way that Kirk says it eventually, all that, is so much more potent.
Right, because it feels more off the cuff and in desperation. Mm-hmm. It feels more in character. The way they have it, on our scene between Kirk and Spock outside of the holding cell on Delta Vega, you basically have Kirk and Spock talking to each other about what to do with Gary. And in the original script, it has Kirk saying, "I won't kill him." And then Spock responds, "You have a saying on Earth, power corrupteth, absolute power corrupteth absolutely. A god with the fallibility of a man, do you dare risk losing that on perhaps our whole galaxy?" That's a little bit heavy-handed and
also, what if Spock have a lisp?
Well, yeah,
he had a limp
funny,
in the cage. Now he has a lisp.
But Roddenberry scrawls in the side that Kirk says, "I can't kill him. Perhaps leave him here alone." Yes, but and then Spock interrupts him. "And if he keeps growing, there's no sign if it will stop, Jim. If it does go on and on." and it's just simpler. It's more to the point, and it's much more elegant.
Yeah.
basically-
Go ahead,
Okay.
Ash.
I was just going to say he's basically giving him the speech that Elvis gives to Clarence in True Romance about killing Gary Oldman.
That's really funny. But Spock says
Also
things.
throw a party, man.
He's doing impossible things, godlike things, only a mad god would do. Kirk, you're speculating.
Right.
And then Mr. Spock says, I'm projecting. We know what he was. We know what he is now. Consider what happens if the growth in power goes on and on and on. Compare that to the scene in the final episode, which is so good between Kirk and Spock, where Spock is basically like telling him he's going to have to kill his friend. And Kirk's like not sure what he's going to do. And Spock is basically like sympathetic, but like, if you don't do it, we're fucked, is basically what he's saying.
Yep.
It's so much better than all this riffing. And, oh, by the way, it's so interesting. I mentioned earlier that Gary Mitchell is reading his Kindle in sickbay. At one point, they name-checked that he's reading Bartlett's book of quotations. And he does that total first draft mistake we all make, where he just starts quoting all this shit.
Right.
Like, he's from Bartlett's book of quotations, and it was just like, and it's just not good. It's not good. But it's so funny that it actually he says I'm reading Bartlett's book of quotations, because they have this whole conversation about Spinoza, how he said I never understood Spinoza, but now it's so simple, and I get it, and Kirk says. But this is such a, I don't know who, maybe it was Peeples trying to show off how smart he is. Kirk says something like, yeah, I don't agree with him either. Like, oh, well, Kirk knows it too,
But it's so much better handled in the actual show, where Kirk just looks at the screen and says, you, Spinoza? Done. We're out of it. And we establish all that.
Yeah. Because in a way, Lockwood is kind of this fuck up. He's the party boy, and I love that. I love that that Gary Mitchell was kind of, he wasn't Finnegan. He was like this guy who was like buddy. He's Rob Burnett. He's like the party boy, but he's really smart. But maybe he's more focused on the women than he is on his job, and or he's sort of like Sean Fanning / Rob, and in a good way. I like Gary Lockwood. So, and then Kirk is sort of a little more diligent. He studied at the academy, and he's more focused on the starship. But Lockwood is just like, just more about, and maybe that's why Lockwood isn't the captain. Why Gary Mitchell isn't the captain. Because he kind of didn't buckle down the way that Captain Kirk did. Right. It's interesting.
He wasn't a stack of books with legs.
A stack of book with legs. Yeah, exactly. But, he did throw that little blonde lab assistant at him, which we now think of as, retconned as Carol Marcus.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not. But
it's in my head canon.
It's in your head canon. But it's so interesting. There's so much. It also shows you, how important rewriting is. I mean, Ashley said at the beginning, it's like, it's not called draft, it's called drafts, and you see the genesis or the basis of what will become Where No Man Has Gone Before. But if they had filmed this as is,
oh boy.
It would have been terrible. Here it is. It's what you said. Power, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Do you risk losing that on? It's just like a starship commander. You have to choose death for some men. It's like as opposed to, that great line about, there's no room for compassion in command, and he's like, you got to choose death for some men. It's like, really?
Murk him. Just put a cap in it. It's the Scott. It's not even like the Elvis to Clarence. It's the Scott Evil speech. Why don't you just shoot him? Just politically, just shoot him. Shush. Got a whole bag of shush just for you.
And it's interesting because, and in the finished episode, there's so much heart in it because Gary doesn't want to kill Kirk.
Yeah.
You see his humanity even as he evolves into this higher plane, this godlike being. He kills Kelso because he needs
screw
to.
him. Yeah.
But and Kelso was his friend because there's that scene where Kelso comes to visit him sickbay, and Gary's kind of a dick to him, and then he ends up killing poor Kelso. But with Kirk, he doesn't really. He's even telling him to go back and to leave him alone, and then he shows up with his giant phaser. Which I just wish that had shown up again. I wish they had used that again because it's kind of super cool. It's like, well, when a regular phaser, when phaser 1 and phaser 2 won't do, you need a phaser gun.
It's like Silverado, right? This will do.
Yeah, exactly.
The funny thing about the phaser rifle is that it is cool for that episode, but it completely is not in the same style as the show later on.
Yeah, that's true. It has that more Art Deco.
It's completely like Buck Rogers. It fits with the cage lasers, But
come on, wouldn't it have been good for Star Trek V if suddenly they showed up on Nimbus 3? They're all packing the phaser
that would have
rifle.
been fantastic. Oh, I love everything about that idea. They've just got all the old school shit. That'd be awesome.
Instead of the rock salt guns, they actually got be good stuff. Darren's like, no. Darren's like, absolutely not. Well, as we learned in the script, instead of Kirk the grave, Kirk could have been swallowed by quicksand.
That's true.
Yeah, it's this quicksand had his name on it.
And Armis is like, get out of here.
Yeah,
that's right. So they ruined.
Now there's a lot of production problems in this draft.
Yeah.
And luckily they caught them enough so that they were able to get it done in 9 days.
Yeah.
Well, look, that's also part of the process, man. Like, when you're doing those successive drafts, like that's when you start to think about, I guess I can't afford to do a fucking quicksand pit. You know what I mean? Like, or I can't have I can have 3 sets, not 6. I mean, and that, kids, is the window into writing and producing for television. And it's not just like when you're revising,
I thought the moon
you're not
was
just
a window
fixing
to heaven.
dialogue. You're fixing stories so that you can make the script. Yeah. That's part of the job.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, one of the most subtle changes that Gene made that's right on the money, which informs, I think, the series completely going forward, is there's a point where Gary Mitchell is threatening him at the end by the grave. He's doing this whole thing about get on your knees and pray to me, as opposed to that great scene where he says, pray to me, But he goes, you'll do this, Captain. And Gene scratches out Captain. It says James.
Jim.
Changes it to James. No, he changed it to James.
Oh yeah.
But it's like he gets it. It's like, no, they're friends. He's not calling him Captain. This is not the relationship of two people, that happen to serve together. It's his friend. And by changing it to James, it's like it hammers all that home and makes it personal. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why that ending works so well, because it's personal, because you want Kirk to kill Gary Mitchell, but you feel bad that he has to do this because you know that this is his dear friend.
And you also know that Gary Lockwood is awesome.
Well, that's true. There's a great line that Roddenberry wrote. The original version was, Mitchell says, I was going to bury you in quicksand, Captain, but that wouldn't be right and decent, would it? Roddenberry crosses out all of that and just says, I've been contemplating a proper death for such an old friend.
Yeah. How much better is that?
It's so much better.
Yeah. Instead of this nonsense about swallowing him in quicksand and this just expositional nonsense, you get a sense that it's difficult for him too, and he doesn't want to have to kill Captain Kirk, but he can't help himself because, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
He was late.
One jealous god, if all this makes a god. Shall I tell you how Mr. Spock said it? All that written by Roddenberry in the corner.
I love Daren's idea that in Star Trek V, the fake god should have been Gary Mitchell. I just, oh God.
100%. Especially if on Nimbus 3, they were like, they had all the old phaser rifles, Darren.
But just think how personal it would have been. So he basically fooled Cybok into thinking he was God, and he shows up and it's Gary Mitchell and Gary Lockwood, and he's just like, okay, now I can go and because then you have a Khan character who wants revenge against Kirk the same way that Khan did, and and it's a person to play against as opposed to this amorphous godlike cloud entity.
And it also plays into you don't have a brother. Right? Like the person from your past who shows up that you don't expect.
He doesn't have a brother. He doesn't have a sister. He doesn't have any of that.
He doesn't have any of that. He was an only child. Well, no, I mean, I kind of like Cybok now. So
no, of course we do because we love Larry Luckett Bill, and Cybok is an interesting character. Yeah. Interesting character.
But he definitely doesn't have a sister. A sister.
So we have a twin sister.
Who he kissed for some reason.
But I just think, like seeing what Gene did with this script makes me appreciate this episode that much more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So where does it rank on your list? Obviously second pilot. Where does it rank in terms of your oeuvre of Star Trek episodes?
I think I put it certainly in the top 20. It's in the top quarter of episodes.
Gene Roddenberry had in his top 10.
Well, that's good.
They used to show it as part of those marathons. I'm just saying. Well, maybe he is, and maybe he isn't. We don't know.
The original series, I think.
I like to think Gene hangs around the podcast wanting to know what we're going to say about him.
I think he wants to know what.
I
think he wants to know what Frakes and
Brent are going to say about him. But it's not a Star Trek podcast.
That's right.
They're not going to talk about Gene.
It will be
until episod 12.
Until episode 2, when they get the response
more about Star Trek.
Yeah.
They're not talking about Star Trek.
Because who wants to hear them not talk about Star Trek? Us. That's about it.
That's right.
Anybody else wants to hear them talking about Star Trek? In fact, we got to drop that episode we did with Brent one of these days where we talk about everything but Star Trek.
It's great.
And it's the best interview. Yeah. Speaking of interviews, we're going to be back in Richmond, Virginia, which is now a supersized 4-day event in March. Great GalaxyCon. Go to galaxycon.com. Of course, we're going to be back in Vegas for Star Trek Las Vegas in August. Tickets are going fast. The rumor is that the daily tickets are almost sold out. So if you're thinking of going, now is the time.
The other rumor is that almost all the rooms are gone. So act now.
Yeah, you won't be able to stay at the Rio.
That's right.
Actually, the problem is if you're not staying at the Rio, you don't have access to all the great events happening all the time. So you want to be on the scene and be there. And so book your room at the Rio, get your tickets from Creation End, and join us because it's going to be spectacular. It's the 60th anniversary of Star Trek. We're pulling out all the stops. We're playing the organ. We're pulling out all the stops.
There'll be no stops.
So, yeah.
Stopping is right out.
You want to be there, and of course we got a lot of other conventions coming up. The very exciting stuff coming up throughout the year. I hope you'll join us at. We talked about the fact that Darren is going to be on the Star Trek cruise, but that's sold out. But that's February 20th to 27th. We're in Richmond, March 19th through the 22nd. Oklahoma City, May 22nd to 24th. In Nashville, May 29th through the 31st.
So I will not be in Nashville. I will not be in Nashville. I will be in.
Okay, Darren will not be in Nashville.
I will be at Wonderfest in that other town
with Nick Tate.
Well, then we'll be
maybe.
And then join Darren and I will be at the Ticonderoga Set Tour 60th anniversary, June 25th to the 28th, and there'll be Shatner's going to be there and some wonderful special guests. And, of course, as the year continues, you can find Ashley and I at the San Diego Comic-Con, July 22nd and 26th. And Darren will be at GalaxyCon Raleigh, July 23rd to 26th. And, of course, this is the big one, 007, Star Trek, Trek to Vegas, August 5th through the 9th. You don't want to miss that one. So a lot of good Treksperts on the road, like Jack Kerouac. We're on the road. And we'll be reciting... bad poetry. What was that? What Spock says bad poetry? What was that episode?
Oh, right.
I'm trying to remember. How do we not know this? Ashley, what's the episode where Spock goes, bad poetry?
I'm on.
No.
Wow, we suck. We
suck.
got to change the name of the podcast. We're no longer the Inglorious Treksperts. We're the Inglorious. Know a little bit about
Inglorious
Star Trek.
Dementia Spurts.
Bad poetry.
Bad poetry.
This is bothering me. We're not going to get off this podcast until we figure this out.
It's not Imud.
No, it's not Imud. It's not Imud. Bad poetry.
Bad poetry. Bad poetry.
Okay, does somebody want to try and attempt to look this up? Because I'm not going to come up with it in a reasonable amount of time. People at home are now freaking out. They're like,
they're screaming at their speakers.
And like, what is with these guys? I trusted them. I
is it
believed
Trelane?
in them. They've let me
Is
down.
it Squire of Gothas?
No, it's Catspaw.
Oh, yes.
Oh, right.
Okay. Thank you. Oh,
that's why.
I could breathe again.
I'm not a big fan of Catspaw. That's why.
Oh, that's why.
Wind
it
shall
doesn't
rise
matter.
and fog
It's not
descend,
Inglorious
so these are all our
Treksperts
meet your end.
with an asterisk, except for the episodes we're not fans of.
No,
It's
that's
Inglorious
exactly what it
Treksperts.
is. That's exactly what it is, Mark.
No,
we're
no.
knowledgeable
Wrong.
about the stuff that we love, and not so much about the stuff that we don't.
You can't then have the caveat, except Catspaw.
Inglorious Treksperts,
Except Catspaw.
Dude. And every episode of Discovery. Anyway, I don't know. So this was fun. I like doing these scripts. I hope the audience does.
I like doing them
Although
too.
I have to say, it's interesting. It's a new way of looking at episodes that we know very well. And we really did, we said for the 60th anniversary, we really wanted to do more deep dives into the original series.
Yeah.
Because of the anniversary. And then next year is the 40th anniversary of Next Gen, and assuming that we're renewed for another season and we all come back and we're still alive, then we're going to we'll do the same thing for Next Gen.
That's right.
Oh my God.
So
it'll be the 35th anniversary of Deep Space Nine.
40th. Oh yeah, and 40th of Next Gen.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can go through many drafts of all those episodes.
Well, maybe we'll bring on a guest. We'll bring on Scott Mance or something.
Mance!
And he can mansplain.
Mansplaining.
I think he missed an opportunity because he has a new podcast, great
and he
podcast
should have
called
called it that.
Consider This, but it should have been called Mansplaining.
Yep.
And you should check out his podcast, Consider This. It's all about the award show season and terrific stuff, and you should join him. And speaking of joining, you can subscribe to Treksperts Plus today, and you get all kinds of great bonus content. We've been dropping episodes early. We have some exclusive episodes, commercial free. You really don't get the full Treksperts experience or the Jimi Hendrix experience without subscribing at trekspertsplus.com. So don't wait. Subscribe today. And while you're at it, check out our Linktree and follow us on all our social media platforms, including YouTube, where we're now dropping our video episodes in addition to Spotify, where you can also watch our episodes.
We're not dropping them. We're laying them down gingerly.
No, I'm dropping it. I have that thing when you get old where the grip strength where stuff just I just keep dropping stuff. It's like, it's funny because, do you find you drop stuff more often these days?
No.
I do. You will, Ashley, at some point. But, Ashley with the martial arts, he has, he's like Bruce Lee. The only thing he drops are his opponents in the ring.
Well,
you do have the might to force the crystals from us, Captain.
But I won't. Consider that.
Consider that.
Now that is Mirror Mirror.
Yes, correct.
See, that's Mirror Mirror. So I'll take the asterisk away. We're okay now. Bad poetry. Bad poetry. Oh my God. Yeah, so keep those cards and letters coming too. We're going to keep reading letters. Trekspertsplus.
We're not getting any cards.
And you can
We're not getting any cards.
we're not getting cards.
There's no
you can't
cards.
send cards to an email.
Read the card.
Yeah. It's better to send us an email. It's easier for me to read as opposed to when you put it up on social, and plus I read it on social and then I forget. So if it's better you actually send us an email.
Yeah,
Those are the
email.
people who get the most love.
To
It's fine if you want to say
Trekspertsplus
stuff on social.
Trekspertsplus@gmail.com.
And don't try and convince us how funny you are because you know what? Very few people are that funny.
No one's funnier than Ashley.
So don't try and convince us that you're funny. Just be heartfelt. It's better. It's better that way. It's better for you.
Be a
it's
normal
better for us.
person.
Be a normal person. Oh my God.
And join us on our Discord where
what
you'll
else?
see this script.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Discord channel. You'll be able to check out the script and celebrate the Syndicate. And there's some real great joys of that. And we may drop some other scripts too. I don't think we're going to go through every episode of but it felt with the 2 pilots it was significant. But I don't know if we're going to start doing individual episodes.
Well, I think we ought to go through that other script you sent me. We're going to leave it
one's that,
as
the
a
God thing?
secret. The what?
The other thing, the God thing.
The other one.
Oh, the other one. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything either.
Don't say
Let's
it.
keep it a secret for now.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Because that way you have to
Called
keep
a teaser.
joining. It's a teaser. Yeah, it's a cold teaser. Yeah,
cold open.
cold open. Yeah, exactly. And now we need a great act out for this act. So
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
see, this is the part where everybody tunes out. I never look at the not the algorithms. What is it called? The stuff to see how many people tune out in the last 5-10 minutes of the show.
Right.
Because I figure that's usually when people are like, okay, enough of these guys. I've had it with them. They were entertaining me for 40 minutes, but
Yeah, I'm
70
done.
minutes too much.
Although
too
we
long.
get a lot of
A
people
good
who
podcast
listen to the
is
whole
usually
thing.
around 20, 30 minutes. No, probably so. But probably less on YouTube, more on the podcast. Because people are in a
Right.
car, they want to drive to work, they want to listen to the whole
Yeah.
thing. But
They don't
YouTube
have
is
their
probably
finger on the
more
button.
dipping in and out. People
That's
like
right.
that Star Trek 4 episode. People are saying that they like that Star Trek 4. I like that Karen Walker. She, our friend Karen Walker. We like that Karen Walker. She said, normally I don't like, as you know, I don't like the panel shows, but Star Trek 4 was really fun. You had a great group and they were lively, and I really enjoyed that. So I'm glad she did.
It was a hell of a good
I'm
panel.
glad we won her over with that
good.
panel. That was a fun panel. Scott Gimple
And people
VJ,
love the sci-fi air
Amatrage.
show.
Oh, they love the air show. They love the air show, and that's the one to watch on YouTube. And I told our YouTube channel doesn't hold a candle to our audio podcast. I don't know if they know about it or they prefer to listen to us in their cars. It's just like a pale. But apparently people really love that freaking sci-fi air show, which is great because we love Bill George, and I thought Darren and Bill did a great panel. We'll be doing more stuff like that at Star Trek Las Vegas. So, we're saying this for your benefit. It doesn't matter to us if you come or not, but
Right.
if you're invested in this kind of a Trekucation, if I might, they really are running out of tickets and hotel rooms. So if you've been, sort of straddling the line between maybe I'll go, maybe I won't, I don't know.
Pull the trigger.
You should pull the trigger or the phaser rifle. Pull the phaser rifle, and go because it's gonna be too late, and there's nothing we can do about it. You can't then email us and say, hey, is there anything you can do to help Treksperts?
Yeah, no.
Can you get me a room? No, we're not travel agents. Can you get me into the convention? No, we cannot. So all we can do is entertain you. That's all we can do.
That's right.
We're
And
limited
really, that's
in
very
terms of our-
subjective.
We're not like Gary Mitchell. We don't have Esper powers. All we can do is be
Like
on
Gary
stage
Lockwood, we can't punch out baboons.
and put together a really
I
great
bet we
4
could if
days
we
of
walked
programming.
macho enough.
Yeah, that's true.
I would get killed by the baboon, but I wouldn't be carrying a cup of coffee either. I wouldn't be out in Cape Town with a cup of coffee when the sign says "Do not leave with food in your hand."
Yeah.
I would not do that, so I would not be in that situation. Gary Lockwood, on the other hand,
Would totally
was very
be
much
in
in
that
that situation. Yeah. What was that?
That would be me hitting a drawer handle on accident.
Are you okay?
I'm okay. It hurts.
Okay. Good.
But I'm good.
Okay.
Good.
Can we call it? Can we call it?
Yeah, I can
please?
live with it.
Okay.
Susan.
Okay. Well, on behalf of Ashley Edward Miller, Darren Dochterman, myself, Mark A. Altman, I was going to try and do like a Where No Man Has Gone Before outro, because he has the different intro. We didn't even talk about that. The whole
Right.
Quinn Martin, the version, Act 1, Act 2,
Right.
the original credit sequence. We're not going to talk about that because we're on our way out of here. But it's really interesting. If you haven't watched the uncut version, it's on the Blu-ray as a special feature on disc 3. And it was so funny. Darren and I, when we screened this episode with Scott Mance at the Skirball Center, we were adamant you have to show the original cut, not the television cut, and they jumped through hoops to like make it happen because we're like we will not go on stage, we will not talk about the episode unless you show the right version with the Quinn Martin act breaks and Star Trek will continue and that extra 30 seconds at the beginning where Gary Mitchell slaps the girl on the butt. That was cut from the fortunately cut from the finished episode. But anyway, that's it. That's really all we got. That's all we got. Because if
Hope
we
you
do
enjoyed
it all
this one
in this episode, we got nothing for the next episode.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Anyway, so on behalf of On behalf of Ashley Edward Miller, Darren Dochterman, myself, Mark A. Altman, keep on trekking, ingloriously, of course. Bum, 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 bum.